Hi guys, it's Alicia here with my work basket. Today I've got a couple things to talk about, mostly kind of some catch-ups. I'm not starting any new projects today, but it has been about, I think, a week and a day since I got the big box of magazines. And I'm actually almost done, like all of them. I have exactly one magazine left that I haven't flipped through yet. And again, this is my kind of quick pace magazine flip through. I covered this in another video, but what I do is I flip through, and anything that really excites me, I set it aside. I make a separate pile. I have a new pile of those that I'm going to show in this video. I'm going to give you a quick update of my new sewing machine, which I shared recently. And that's kind of probably going to be it for today. I'm sort of not between projects. That's not really quite the right word for it. I still haven't finished my pillow cover. I still haven't finished my needlepoint of my dog runway. Pretty sure I've talked to you about that already. I'm still working on my son's blanket, it's going to take a really long time. I'm hand stitching with a running stitch, kind of Kantha style, or like a shishiko. I never know how to say this stuff. You know how you read words and you never like hear them pronounced? That's how I am on all of this stuff. But it's got these like running stitches, and I'm doing it all by hand, and it's going to take forever. So I'm going to show you these new magazines and talk to you about my sewing machine. And then that's going to be it for today. I'm just going to kind of work on some behind the scenes stuff with my own projects and see where it goes. Like, I want to start something new. I want to start something new for you guys. I want to start something new for me. I like starting new stuff. I don't really like long projects. So I got a 1920 treadle sewing machine. It is a new home brand, Ruby. I also got that a week ago yesterday, and it is coming along so well. When I bought this sewing machine, I really pictured like a massive project. I was like, watch it need a ton of work, watch it be missing like a bunch of pieces, watch me be tracking down random antique parts for a year. And it's not. Like, I've already sewn stitches with it. I've got it all cleaned up. I got the wood case cleaned and polished. I cleaned up the machine, oiled the machine, got everything going. So I did have some issues. The only issues I had to really get it going, the only bigger problems, and they were barely a problem, the feed dogs. Oh, let me backtrack. The feed dogs and the presser foot. Couldn't think of the word. Those were the only two problems I really had. So the presser foot wouldn't come down. It was like completely locked up. And sprayed some WD-40 in there, waited a bit, got it working. I mean, it took me like nothing. And then the feed dogs were the same thing. The feed dogs were completely stuck. I actually had everything else ticking, humming along. It's a beautiful sound, that machine, when it's going. And I was about to start sewing with it, and I noticed the feed dogs weren't, the feed dogs underneath your needle kind of do like this number, and they weren't moving at all. So I did the same thing. I sprayed it good with some WD-40, waited a while, and then did like some sewing machine oil on all the different parts of the machine, and I've sewn with it. I do have some fine tuning to do with the tensioning. There's a metal flap that goes across the top, and that's how you control the thread tension across the top thread. And it's kind of funny because it's like I almost need to loosen it, start sewing, tighten it, sew, loosen it, pull the thing out, and cut the thread. Clearly that's not really how it should be. The only problem I have with my machine is the machine needle. It takes a special needle that is much trickier to find now, because all sewing machine needles now are universal lengths, at least for home machines. They're all the same length. This takes a much longer needle than the current sewing machine needles. There are some things people do to get around that and make modern needles work. And I have someone who's willing to do a video call with me, do that to my machine, get it to where I can use current modern needles. But I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to message them in a little while and say, you know, thanks, but no thanks. I found some of the original needles, kind of like new old stock on eBay. They're not cheap, but they're not insanely expensive. So usually sewing machine needles, fairly cheap, you know, $3 to $5 can buy you a pack, easy. A pack of 8 of these extra long needles is about $10 plus shipping. But the good news is this is not my only sewing machine. So this is my like random I wanted to have it sewing machine. And I've essentially decided that as long as I can find the long original needles, that's what I'm going to use. And I'm just going to make those 8 needles last. You know, like I'm not going to do every project on my treadle sewing machine. Honestly, I don't know what projects I'm going to do with my treadle sewing machine. I bought it to have the option to use it. It's not my main machine. I have 2 very fully modern machines. I have my personal sewing machine, which is the one I've used in videos. I have what I call the family sewing machine. If my husband uses it, my son uses it. I use it as a backup if mine's ever in the shop. I have a vintage, like 60s-ish, I've never actually dated it, sewing machine that just kind of lives in our closet. I mean, like, this treadle machine is not required for me. I don't need it for my everyday sewing. So I'm going to track down the original style of needle and use those in my projects. I figure when I use the machine, I'm using it because it's a treadle, and I want it to be more original. So I'm going to track down the old ones. I found a seller on eBay. I found a couple other places I can get them. I'm guessing I'll have them maybe next weekend or so by the time shipping and all that happens. But I've been working with the machine with the current needle, which, as we all know, any sewer can tell you, it affects your tensioning and things like that. If your needle is no good, if your needle's bent, if the tip is dull, all that affects your tensioning. So I've kind of gone as far as I can with my machine with the current needle. I have sewn things with it, and honestly the last set of stitches that I've done, and I've actually done more than this little swap. I did actually a seam on like I bought some random fabric a while ago, and it had a skirt essentially already cut out, and I don't think it'll even fit me, but it was right next to where my sewing machine is, and I literally grabbed it and I was like, oh, I'll sew this, and I did a whole seam on that, and it looks great. It's, you know, it could always be better. Occasionally there'll be a stitch that's a little double wide or something like that. And you want a new needle, you know? Like, I don't know how old this needle is. You want a new needle. So I'm going to tilt the camera down to a different angle and show you some of my random stitches on this. I'm going to flip through these magazines and show you just the projects that I have picked out already. It's already looking like this is going to be a decent length video, kind of longer than I expected. I've chattered a bit here. So let's get started. A new small tripod that I'm hoping helps me get some of these close-up stuff a little bit better. So this is my stitches as they have gone so far. You can kind of tell which ones were first, which ones came later. I also have some that are kind of a little underneath here. So as you can see, I had some definite tensioning issues on some of it. But the last set of stitches, all in all, pretty good. So I'm making great progress with the machine, and I really think some new needles are going to be all that I need to take that machine just right over to just perfection. And you can even see here it went from really loose and just messing with the tension how much straighter it got. I accidentally had it set on very tiny stitches, which made it, honestly, you can't even tell if it's a tension issue or if the stitches are just so tiny you can't tell what the issue is. I used this bright yellow thread because it's a random one that I grabbed out of my thread drawer, and I was like, that should kind of contrast any random fabric I sew with to test the machine. But all in all, I am, you know, at the last step of making the machine work, which I was really, really surprised about. Track down those needles and it will be, you know, more or less as good as new. It doesn't look pristine. I don't care that it doesn't look pristine. It works, and that's what I wanted. And I think it'll be fun to do some projects with the treadle instead of the more modern machine, kind of just for fun. All right, let's look at some magazines. All right, so let's see what jumped out at me from this stack of magazines. There's 2 issues. Episodes. Every time I say episodes and issues, it's like I say the wrong one. Anyway, there's 2 issues of crafts in this pile, and both of them have several markers. This particular one had a bunch of Easter stuff, which is, of course, way out of season right now because it's May. But I thought this bunny was really cute. These guys, the bunny and lamb party favors, were super cute. I don't think that I'd actually make them, but I was curious about these dolls. And then, I mean, the others are all cute, but, I mean, like I said in the previous video, just because these are the things I marked, it doesn't mean there's not a ton of other great stuff. This is just the stuff that really jumped out at me. I am in some groups where they make craft things and leave them for people to find. Just kind of help brighten somebody's day, similar to how they've done the painted rocks. I thought these might be really fun for that. And use up some scrap yarn. Maybe as a magnet, or even see about putting it on like a stem. These were super cute. They're a bag, so the belly opens up. This and these bunny heads both, I had messaged a friend and I was like, these would be super cute to do for craft shows. But unfortunately, these would be better made than anything you get at like a dollar store. But things like this are so dominant now at dollar stores that I don't think people would pay a fair price to make it worth making these. But I want to make some for myself, especially these cute bunny pics. So I'm hoping to maybe circle back to this issue a little, probably closer to Easter. Also, this is not a craft project. This is a tool, but I saw this ad. The Amazing Knitting Pal knits 4 rows simultaneously. I'm going to try and track that down, at least see kind of what it looks like, because this is new to me. I don't find a lot of weird gadgets that are new to me in the craft world, so I'm kind of curious. I'm going to try and track that down and see what that's like. I also have this Crochet a Pet. And the whole thing was super cute. I make monkeys for my son. So it was just cute. I pulled out this whole book to flip through and possibly make one. The second issue of Crafts. So this I marked because I just thought it was neat. I think everyone has done the cinnamon Christmas ornaments where you make like a cinnamon dough and you cut it with cookie cutters. These are the same exact cinnamon dough, but just rolled into a plaque and painted. And I just thought that was really cute. So I don't necessarily need like the recipe or instructions, but I wanted to circle back to that. Because I've never seen them done as a plaque before. And I thought that was really neat. I work with a lot of kids. I was like, maybe we could do something like that. The designs on these two, a bit outdated. This is definitely like late 80s, 1987. That country look and geese and stuff going on. But the idea, that could be fun. Picture if you did the cinnamon plaque with like a Christmas design. A lot of people do the Christmas ornaments with the cinnamon sauce. Cinnamon clay. It's cinnamon and applesauce. If you've never done it before, it's really neat. So I marked that to kind of circle back to. There's a whole section of bears, and I thought these little velour baby bears were super cute. I do love to make stuffed toys. I try to actually give all the younger kids in my neighborhood a stuffed toy at Christmas. And this was the real thing from this issue. Country Rug Basket. This is a woven rag rug dipped in fabric stiffener, draped over a ball or a bucket, and like made into this. You literally drape it, you take the extras and weave the handle, and I was like, that is cute. The colors in this one are very rustic, very 80s, but even that basket would fit in a lot of modern decor with those colors. And the fun, like, colorful rag rugs, I love the colorful rag rugs. At one point, we had about 10 of them in our house. They got, kind of scrappy. They're supposed to be in the basement because I told my husband I want to reweave them because sometimes you can buy them cheaper than you can buy the fabric to make your own. So we still have a stash of those, but I loved that idea. So I really wanted to kind of circle back to that. They do it over a 5-quart plastic ice cream bucket. So it's just a fabric rug, a rag rug, dipped in fabric stiffener. And I was like, I want to do that. So that was the main one from that issue. Doll World. There was a couple issues of Doll World in the box. The interesting thing was the Doll World, I don't know if I could flip through and find one. These older Doll World, I keep wanting to say wood. Anyway, these older Doll World magazines had paper dolls in them also. And the interesting thing is that my mom was very into dolls when I was a kid. And some of the paper dolls from these issues are some of the same ones I remember her having like copies of. So it's just it was kind of neat to flip through and be like, oh, I remember that paper doll. And I remember that paper doll. And I remember some of these dolls. I think this just talked about them. It was like a picture of the pattern. This was why I saved this magazine. This was one of the main things in it. Little gem dolls. I love to make these type of dolls. And even just looking at these two, you can see how different the faces are. So I saved that. The pattern for those is in the book, in the magazine. And there's also an article on Tiny Betsy McCall. I have a Tiny Betsy McCall. I love her, and I just wanted to circle back and read that and look at some of the different clothes. And Magic Crochet, October 1985. Magic Crochet is usually a fun magazine, like so much cute stuff. I mean, like everything on this cover, great, lots of thread crochet, beautiful. The only reason I really saved this out was this doll on the back. The only downside to this doll is that another issue actually has the doll pattern, and this one has more so the clothes and instructions for said clothes. It uses the same pattern as a doll from a previous issue to make the actual doll, and I have to see if I have that issue to track down the doll. So it's possible that I have the issue even from this same box, and I just didn't like the other doll and I didn't save it. But I've got to track down and see if I can actually find the doll pattern to make that. These were neat. I saved out the whole book of them. Crochet puzzlements. You can look at them and you can see they're cute kind of stuffed animals, but they come apart. So they're also like a puzzle. And I thought that was really neat. Like, different characters, but they come apart. So they show you Feathers the flamingo, Polo the pony. That was neat. I've never seen anything like that. So I wanted to take a better look at those, how they were made, if I want to possibly make one. The burger is hilarious. So saved that out. I worry that I may have shown you this already. I had my magazines stacked out in stacks. They accidentally got stacked in one pile, and I'm pretty sure I separated them correctly, but I do worry if I had shown you this one already. It was for this shirt, fringed shell, which can be part of a layered look. I don't know, I just kind of liked that. 1981. Needle and Thread from 1987. Any crafter that lived through the 80s and 90s remembers jewelry like this. Yeah. So it has the pattern and information for this. And then I also thought this was kind of neat. Like, I don't think I would make it. I don't know that I would wear it, but the technique of it was kind of cool. So I wanted to read more about that. Maybe I'd make one. I don't know. I mean, you never You never know. Different colors. But mostly it was this jacket pattern. They call it a painted hipparu. I really should look up how to pronounce more of these words before I record. I'll be honest though, even if I looked them up, I'd forget by the time I was going to say it. It's Hippari. I've never actually heard of that. It looks very kimono-ish. But that was what I saved that magazine for. Aunt Jane's Sewing Circle. Once again, Aunt Jane's Sewing Circle is the magazine that actually resulted in me ending up with a box of 120 magazines. I went on eBay to look for Aunt Jane's Sewing Circle, found a lot, bought a massive lot, and here we are. And I am in love with this knit frog. I just love it so much. I showed my son, I was flipping through magazines while he was doing his schoolwork, and he's like, can you make me that? It's just too stinking cute, with a butterfly on his nose and the big googly eyeballs. This is quite likely to be one of the next projects that I take on. It is knit. I need to check my yarn stash. It calls for 8 ounces of each of the greens, and I want to make sure that I have enough of the greens. I actually meant to buy more just in case and make sure I had 2 greens that looked good together. But this frog is too stinking cute. I'm just in love with them. Crochet World from August 1987. Jean's Fashion Scene has this wisp of a jacket, and I was in love with that. I just thought it was cute. I don't know why I'm showing it to you quite so long. I just feel like there's a lot to take in. Like, the way it's assembled is really neat. The way the neckline goes up. I was really in love with that. Both of the next 2 were for the sake of, like I was saying, of making stuff for people to find. Just kind of make them happy. Just some super cute and quick little... I especially like the little turtle. So, those might work just to make cute things to leave for people to find. And the last issue, anyone who knows me can probably already tell what the item in this issue is. There is a Crochet Kitchen Witch in here. Crochet a Kitchen Witch. Same from the cover. And also a little monkey. So, those out of the huge 120 issues, I've whittled it down to this stack of magazines that really has stuff I just absolutely am in love with and want to make or want to read more about. So I started with a very big stack, very tall stack, 120 issues, and there's maybe 20 or so here too. 4, 6, 8, 10... 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. So there's 30 issues. I whittled it down from 120 issues. I'm keeping all of the issues. They're all going in my collection. It's not that the other issues aren't good. It's not that I'll never make anything from any of them. It's just what I'm interested in right now, the things I want to make right now. These are the issues that I found exciting. So, thank you for looking at magazines with me. I think that's everything for today. I wanted to show you my fabric for my sewing machine, which I did. I wanted to flip through these magazines with you, and that's it. So, thank you for watching. I'm going to spend the rest of my day kind of working on projects, getting caught up. I want to finish something so I can start something new. So I'm going to be working on that today. And I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.